Mexico, state of Veracruz. In the city of Coatzacoalcos, a team of Dutch experts are about to immerse a tunnel. The tunnel will be the first immersed concrete tunnel of Latin America and will link the city of Coatzacoalcos with neighboring city Allende and its petrochemical industry.
My name is Gina de Rooij. I work for Volker Construction International and I'm a senior immersion engineer. At the moment I am doing all preparations for immersion works, immersion operations. I'm devising work methods, calculating equipment, calculating all kind of ballast calculations, all preparations for immersion and marine works.
My name is Alex van Schie. I work for Volker Construction International and I'm a specialist for marine works. On the project in Mexico, I am the operation manager.
Immersing a tunnel is a specialist job. It's something you won't learn in the time of one project. Also, you need people with the right background in hydraulic engineering. You have to know about water.
And knowledge about water is exactly what the specialists from Dutch-based company Volker Construction International have. They have been specializing in building and immersing tunnels since World War II. They come from a country which is built in a river delta, densely populated areas where the rivers are crossed to commute and are used heavily for transporting goods. In these populated areas, immersed tunnels are an economically interesting solution for a good transport system that supports economic growth. In Mexico, we see a similar situation. The immersed tunnel will connect the densely populated city of Coatzacoalcos with Allende, thereby ensuring a 24/7 all-round connection with the petrochemical industry.
Yeah, people can now cross the river via a bridge, but the way to Pemex via the bridge is almost 40 minutes by road because you have to go outside of the city and then all around to Pemex. The alternative is to go by boat, but in half of the year the conditions on the river are bad and then the boats have to stop. So in this case, in a populated area, you can construct a tunnel, so you can construct a connection very close to the river banks.
To determine the exact location of those connections, of the tunnel's final position, and to determine the best moments for immersion, the team has to rely on data. Lots of data.
Well, we have a continuous measurement at one location in the river, and we measure with our boat, the Isabella, depending on the tides, sometimes 3 times a day, sometimes 12 times a day, day and night, to get exactly the information on the critical point in the tide that we want to have.
This boat we use for measuring the current and also to do multi-beam survey. Here you can see the trench of the tunnel. This is divided by element. Here we are sending the area for element 5 and go for the element 4 in this area.
All of the survey works are executed by the experts of Geovisie.
My name is Erik Gijkhorst. I'm the chief surveyor on this project, the immersed tunnel in Coatzacoalcos, Mexico. From a technical point of view, it's a real challenge. We are doing the whole survey works, measuring the element in the dry dock, measuring the elements or determining the size of the elements in the dry dock, providing the measurements for installing the gravel bed, and after that then installing the tunnel element itself. So that all the combinations and all the the different disciplines, that's the challenge.
Erich is now surveying and measuring on board the MPP Scrateway. This enormous vessel is especially designed to deposit and level out various kinds of material underwater. The gravel is transported up to a large fall pipe that moves alongside the pontoon and uses the survey data to deposit the gravel at the correct height and position.
Aan boord van de Scrateway verzorgen wij controle op de plaatsbepaling. Dat de surveysensoren allemaal correct met elkaar samenwerken. Waardoor we het grind op de rivierbodem exact op de juiste locatie en op de juiste hoogte kunnen plaatsen. Waar later het tunnelelement op neergezet wordt.
These tunnel elements, a total of 5, were built in a specially made dry dock near the immersion site. After the build, the dry dock was flooded and the elements are now ready for the outfitting and transport operation. After floating up the element needs to be outfitted and prepared for the actual immersion. This is mostly done at a temporary parking location. Here the team installs the access shaft that is needed to enter the element when it's fully underwater. They also fit the tower that holds the survey equipment and several other immersion facilities. The element is now also connected to 2 bridges, called catamarans. The containers on these 2 bridges hold the command post as well as the 4 winches. The catamarans are used as cranes, vertical winches that in a controlled manner can lower the element to the bottom of the river. As the crowd gathers and politicians are flown over the site, the outfitting of the element is finished and the element and its catamarans will be transported to the final immersion location with the help of tugboats and local pilots. The elements weigh over 30,000 tons each. Moving and controlling such a big mass of dead weight is quite different than steering an oil tanker with a rudder and an engine. It takes a long time before it starts to move and it takes a long time to stop. In command of this operation is Yuri Vinks.
My name is Yuri Vinks. I work for Volker Construction International as a marine superintendent. It's the 3rd tunnel I've been involved with. I've done one in Norway, in Oslo, and then started with the Tyne Tunnel in Newcastle, and now this tunnel in Coatzacoalcos, Mexico, with 5 elements. But as we are approaching the trains, I keep an eye on the time, on the schedule, and also keep an eye on what all the other people are doing.
And the team is on a tight schedule because they have to get to the immersion location at the time that the tide and current will have the least influence. Because when the element is turned in position for immersion, the 138 meters length will be at 90 degrees to the current in the river. The full force of the river will try to push the element away and out to sea. 30,000 tons, controlled only by 3 tugboats. During his command of this operation, Yuri is accompanied by the team's Nestor, Leen de Jong.
Ja, mijn naam is Leen de Jong. Wat ik hier doe is vooral me bezighouden met het afzinken van tunnelement 2. En er is een mooi afzinkteam hier. Er zijn nu jongens die hebben een stuk ervaring, probeer ik over te brengen, nog een stuk te coachen. Dus het eerste wat ik gedaan heb hier is een team te smeden. Een werksfeer te creëren waarin we in ieder geval gezamenlijk, want je hebt elkaar nodig in zo'n project, gezamenlijk dit werk tot een goed einde konden brengen.
Gaat het goed? Ja hoor, mooi op schema. We liggen mooi op schema, we liggen mooi in het kanaal, dus Ziet er goed uit. Dit is een mobiel scherm waarop we precies de positie van alle sleepboten en het element kunnen zien in relatie tot het kanaal en de af te zinken locatie. Dus hier kunnen we precies zien waar het element zich op dit moment bevindt. So as soon as we are above the trench, we have to make a turn, and then we are in the line with the other tunnel elements, and then we pick up wires, winch wires from shore and from winch pontoons, which we need to connect to the element. And I keep an overview of that sequence of connecting the wires is the right sequence. Or just connect that one with the shackle on here, so we can lift it off.
Now the tunnel element is securely connected to the winches, it's time for the local pilots to leave and to remove the transport rigging and protection of the element.
And we are happy, like pilots, okay? Because everything was okay, it's going okay. I'm very happy. First time to move this kind of structures, a new experience, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yuri does one final check, and then he and his team climb up the 30 meters high access shaft to gain access to the tunnel element and start the actual immersion.
As soon as all the wires are on and everything is taken from the roof, so all the temporary equipment is taken from the roof, then we go up into the access shaft and then we go inside the element.
Ready? Okay.
And inside the element there are 4 ballast tanks, 2 on the primary side, front side, and 2 on the rear side, which can contain approximately 1,000 cubic meters of water each. And then calculations have been made how much water approximately should be in the tanks to get it on the bottom of the river. It's all depending on salinity of the water and also of the weight of the element. So what we do, we open the valves inside the element and we fill the tanks to a level that we agree.
Okay. Good. Can you do all 4? Los cuatros, por favor. So todo, sí. Gracias.
In the meantime, they will lower the element a little bit because otherwise you get too much tension on the lifting device, the catamarans. So they lower it a little bit, and at a certain moment there's just enough water in it to make it sink a little bit.
We hebben nu in alle tanks straks een halve meter water. En dan gaan we even kijken hoe het gewicht van het element zich precies verdeelt. En dan kunnen we al beter bepalen hoeveel water er straks in alle tanks moeten. Ja, die is correct. Dat is juist. Ook helemaal juist. En we gaan nu alle tanks vullen tot 1,5 meter.
Yeah, at the moment we are monitoring the position of the elements. Just about to let it go through the waterline. On the front side we are 50 centimeters off the center line. On the secondary side we are a little bit more, approximately 1 meter out of the center line. Dus at the moment all is okay.
Dus daar loopt zo en daar.
All systems go.
Trek ze naar elkaar toe.
Outside, on the two catamarans, are the two winch operators. Based on the data from the surveyors, the ballast tanks and the force in the winches, Operations Manager Alex will give them orders to lower or lift their side of the element.
Nou, ze zijn denk ik bijna door de zoete bovenlaag heen in het zout. We gaan nu nog een laatste stap zetten van een halve meter. En dan gaat Juri met zijn mannen het verloren tonnage weer bijballasten.
Oké, ik ben ook gestart.
Fred, ook gestart.
In the next few hours, the element is carefully lowered in several steps of a half meter up to a meter, until the element touches the gravel. During this immersion process, the winches on shore will slowly pull the element closer to the previous element.
Oké, ik ben al gestopt, halve meter gezakt. Dankjewel Menno. De belastingen schommelen nog een beetje, dus ik wacht even tot het uitgeschommeld is. En jullie krijgen straks weer een opdracht voor de volgende stap.
Two of the facilities that will help make this connection are the catcher and the pin that have been installed on the element. The catcher will guide the pin and tunnel element in the last centimeters and allow the front end to align as planned.
Okay, update for all winch operators. We are preparing a dive to check if the pin is above the catcher, which it should be according to the survey data. So all winch operations are on hold until the dive inspection is over.
Now that the dive inspection has confirmed the survey data, it's time to lower the element completely onto the gravel pad.
Beide lieren 25 centimeter laten zakken.
Oké, dan ga ik naar 12.01. Ik ga nu beginnen.
Menno, can you please lower both blocks 20 centimeters again?
Ready for start.
Hoe zit hij? Oké, sorry. Die zit op Menno 45, Fred 50.
Okay, Menno and Fred, can you both lower both blocks 15 centimeters, please? Ik hoef niet er tegenaan te trekken, dat doen we als die wat lager zit. Bij Fred gaat de krachten er nu uit. Ja. Ietsje ver. Hoeveel staat hij nu te hoog?
Hij zit nu gemiddeld op 18.
Stop.
Ja. Okay, thank you.
Touchdown.
Alex, for all winch operators, we have touchdown. The tunnel element is on the bottom with the pin in the catcher and with the Gina close to the end frame, not connected yet, but it will be after we have connected the pulling cylinder. That is why the diver is now preparing to go in the water. I ask you to stand by and wait for instructions after the diver is ready.
The diver will now install the sling of the pulling cylinder. This hydraulic cylinder, mounted on the element, will pull the element to the previous element with a force of 100 tons, making the two sides connect for the first time and compressing the first centimeters of the so-called rubber Gina profile.
Fred, jij mag de trekcilinder aantrekken.
Oké.
after the connection has been made, the joint between the element is still filled with water. A team of 4 people on each side will open all valves to drain the water. This will create an underpressure inside the joint, and the 2 elements will basically suck together, compressing the rubber GINA profile and creating a first completely watertight connection.
That's one of the nicest moments when you see the water coming out from the vent pipes close to the roof. And when you see the water coming out, it's first, you know, like spraying for like say 20 meters far. And then after a minute, 2 minutes, then the pressure gets less and you see the water dropping down and you know, okay, we made the connection, it's watertight. And then yeah, you're basically really happy because that means that you have made the connection, the element is on the bottom and it will stay there.
Okay, it's on! I did. It's tight. You did the trick. It's closed. I will put an element on the bottom of this river.
Well, it is always a race who opens the door first.
Yeah, I really want to be the first one to bang on the other door so that they know I've already opened it and that we are there.
Reaching all the way through. Still too much. I want to try from this level. I'm gonna try from this level, okay? You can hang up here?
Yeah.
Definitely. Should do it nice and easy, but right.
I knew you couldn't. I knew you couldn't win.
Yeah, sometimes you end up being a little bit wet, but that's part of the fun.
Okay. It's yours again, Adrian.
Thank you. It's not nice. I'm going to send some pictures.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you very much for the job.
A successful immersion of all tunnel elements. So now it's time for the closure joint to be constructed. The formwork you see constructed here will be fitted by the divers, so the joint between the ramp and the final tunnel element can be emptied, and the concrete construction works of the joint can be finished from within the tunnel. To keep the tunnel in position and safe from damage, 3 layers of filling are used. First, a locking fill is applied to ensure the position of the rear end of the tunnel element that has just been immersed. Second, the trench to both sides of the tunnel is backfilled. And finally, a layer of rock protection is installed on top to protect the tunnel from being damaged by falling or scraping ship anchors. After finishing the interior, the Mexicans will now have their secure connection from Coatzacoalcos to Allende. And this image will be one of the past, thanks to the specialists of Volker Construction International.